Hello everybody and welcome back to the Prince of Persia 2008 walkthrough. It's time for us to head further into the Royal Palace and continue our expulsion of the concubine from these areas because she's kind of very evil. I mean, less evil than the alchemist and the hunter, but still evil all the same. She's basically kind of your femme fatale for the game, the incredibly sexualized seductress who is trying to get you to fall for Ahriman.
It leads up to the floor where my father held his court.
You know, that whole jazz. Now that was probably one of the stupidest jumps I have done in a long time. Also, blooming corrupted air. It's always such a pain.
Plate's active. We're going to have to time it right to use it.
There were stairs here.
There aren't now.
Yeah, indeed there aren't, but you always get it where there are just no stairs. And I really like this cutscene. You will see why shortly.
Partway up that will take us to the top.
Right, I'll go first. But hey, you're staring at my ass. I felt you looking.
I thought you'd lost your ass.
Donkey. I can feel you looking.
Just climb the tower.
It's just a very subtle little thing. Just the way that they're interacting, it's just so well done. And now the concubine is living up to her title as the single most talkative of the corrupted in the entire game. Because essentially she just likes to talk throughout the entirety of this sequence. And she only shuts up after she's finished doing a line, but as soon as we get a little bit further up, she's just going to keep talking. But kind of back to that cutscene, it's just that little look, and just these slight kind of just words that they say. It's kind of, it just shows how the relationship has evolved over the course of time, and it shows that kind of she does have an interest in the prince, just as the prince has an interest in her, which it's grown, and it just seems really well done. I'm just in love with the relationship between these two. It just works so well.
It is an impressive place.
It's a prison. All the time we thought we were keeping Ahriman in prison. We were chained with him. I always loved this place. I thought we were free. My father always did his best for the people, but we were as trapped as Ahriman.
I thought all this was legend.
Yeah, this is kind of sucky. But also, this is the point where the game starts to get even heavier on its backtrackiness in terms of when we eventually get have to try and get all the light seeds. Because I believe basically all 3 of the remaining concubine levels are towers. Okay, tell a lie, the last one is not really a tower, but it still requires us to climb. But this one and the next one are definitely towers, and they require quite a lot of effort to get all the light seeds, because you have to climb up the inside of the tower, and you have to kind of slide down the outside of the tower, and you need to do it multiple times to get all the light seeds, because, you know, you'll see part of the reason why, but you need to go down at least 3 times if you want to get everything, which is rather a pain.
Amongst other things.
Why do you want a princess when you can have a queen?
That is slightly terrifying. Yeah, because we'd prefer to have Elika, you know, because she's not a crazy ass lady who sold her soul to essentially the devil and is essentially flirting with us whilst trying to be incredibly intimidating, and that's just not desirable. Also, that tale of corruption-y bodiness, I don't quite know how to describe it. She's just not a really very desirable character in the grand scheme of things, so that's exactly why we wouldn't want a queen when we could have a princess.
Don't tempt Armor.
Also saying that, when it comes to narratives in general, it generally always is the princess or the daughter that is desired by the hero, largely because they're the ones who are free, sort of. So obviously, queens are generally married to the king, therefore they are taken. Therefore, the princess slash daughter is the more easily attainable of the two, so that's why they are generally preferred. Obviously, you do have instances where that is not the case. Perfect one being the story of Guinevere and Lancelot, because in that instance she is the queen. And it's also the same in the Tristan and Iseult story, because I think she is a queen as well. And they're both married, both knights wanting to join with the queen, and yeah, that goes badly. I can't quite remember how the Tristan legend ends, but obviously most people know about Guinevere's, how, you know, everybody dies eventually. Although saying about Guinevere, in kind of the original main story about her, it wasn't Lancelot that she cheated on Arthur with, it was actually Mordred, who is his nephew, I think. It's something along those lines. So yeah, the early Guinevere did something a lot bad, a lot worse than getting off with the more noble Lancelot. The whole Guinevere-Lancelot thing was kind of started with Chrétien de Troyes,
She's not coming back to
who is a big guy in terms of medieval romance. He was like one of the first big people for it. When I think he pretty much started the Guinevere-Lancelot narrative. And there we go. That's this tower, nice and healed.
Princess against fake queen, the princess is the winner.
What is it that you want?
Huh?
She offered you your dreams.
Sure, and how long would that have lasted? I just want to get out of here. I want to find my donkey and I want to go home. What about you? What do you want?
Things to be as they were. We can't go back the way we came. We'll need to find another way.
How do we get out of here?
So, here we go. Since we can't reach the mechanism, we, as Alika says, have to go down the outside of the tower.
Then come to a sudden jolting stop.
You must have been really good for morale on your treasure trips.
So, we need to slide down the outside from this little precipice. And I have to say, kind of from the top of these towers, this area is really, really pretty. Also, I am still slightly in awe of the fact that you can see the areas that you're about to go to from all the way up here. Like, the corridor that you could just about see just off to the side of the tower, you are going to be running down that at a later point. Also, you can see the Breath of All Mars power plates just sitting here. This is why you need to essentially slide down the tower 3 times. Because you need to slide down it once you've made it up to heal the fertile ground. You need to then run up it again with the Breath of All Mars to get those light seeds, and then slide all the way back down. And then you need to go up the inside of the tower, and then to be able to progress, you've got to slide down all the way again. And that happens very similarly in the fertile ground on the other side. And it's just like, why? Why do this to me? You have to go through slightly similar frustrations in the City of Light. Although, from what I recall, it's nowhere near as bad, largely because on the 2 that you do, you only ever have to go up kind of twice instead of 3 times. And you can get down through the inside if you want to. Which is very, very helpful. Now, I don't know when it's going to be brought up, because I know it happens during the concubine section because it fits, but I can't remember the specific conversation and where it is, so I might as well bring it up now, and then you can find it interesting when we eventually reach that conversation, which may be in the next part, it may be in the part after. I have no clue, but I want to bring it up now because I am feeling a little bit at a loss of what to talk about. There we go. So at some point during the royal palaces, the prince is going to bring up about harems, which are not actually what you think they are. So a harem is, as stated by the OED, the Oxford English Dictionary, the part of a Muslim dwelling house appropriated to the women, constructed so as to secure the utmost seclusion and privacy, called also seraglio, and in Persia, now Iran and India, zenzana. It's now chiefly a historical term, but people still know of its existence as a word. So basically, it was an area that was completely forbidden to men, and mostly composed of wives and concubines, which is what it's going to get brought up. Now, the issue that you have with harems is that around the time of Romanticism, there was a real interest in Orientalism in the arts. So, a lot of Westerners kind of falsely imagined a harem as being a sort of brothel, where kind of, with loads of sensual young women lying around, with oiled bodies everywhere, the sole purpose being to please powerful men. And that kind of turns up in a lot of art and opera and literature. But it's completely wrong. Because it was just kind of like a safe area for women, and it's kind of just like where they stayed. It was sacred, and so men couldn't go there. So that whole thing of harems being
More out there?
sexual places is completely wrong. And I do find that quite funny, because even now, whenever harems are brought up, it's still, well, in Western culture at least, it's still seen with that kind of sexual connotation. And it's simply not true. And now I'm going to move away from all of these sexual politics and sexual words, because I'm beginning to feel slightly uncomfortable, and I'm sure you guys are too.
Let's go.
It's the wonderful joy that I have of being an English literature student. You end up coming up against these things all the time, because people just love to write about it.
She was never a queen. She was more a lady of particular favors.
Nice euphemism there. Quite fitting, I believe, for the concubine, a lady of particular favours. It's almost like... There's a poem which I really like, Frolippolippi by Robert Browning. And right at the start, the monk Frolippolippi is caught near an alley's end where sportive ladies leave their doors ajar. It just sounds completely ridiculous, but it's just really funny. Because it's a complete euphemism, but yeah. So I was getting away from the sexual stuff, and there it pops in again. It's just because it's kind of everything that the concubine is. So anyway, the thing of the concubine is that you get this really nice contrast between Elika and the concubine, because Elika's obviously the pure, or Mars magic-filled hero character who is lovely, but also rather sarcastic. And then you have the concubine who is evil, crazy, and filled with dark magic. So, having that contrast is quite cool. Because in a way you could kind of see the hunter as the prince's counterpart, almost. In that both of them hunt things. I mean, it's not quite accurate because, I mean, the prince is a tomb raider. He's a thief. But in a way, he hunts tombs. Now, I will say right now, this is not the way that you are meant to be getting a lot of these light seeds. You are meant to, you know, get these when you are right in those areas, instead of being a crazy sard like I am. But let's just say that I saw them and I thought, I don't want to have to climb all the way down again and climb back up, so I will just do it this way, and it remarkably succeeded. Took me a little while to figure out where I was jumping to, mind, but once I got there, it was all fine.
That's it.
And thankfully, I think we are nearly done, yes. We just need to get back up to the top, slide all the way back down, and go down our final corridor, and then this area will be complete. I do like it when you can complete areas in a single swoop. It pleased me very much when we were able to do it in the Vale. because that's not an area where I was expecting to be able to do that. But to be able to completely do it now is just rather gratifying. Now, if I recall correctly, the next tower that we're going up is a lot more fiendish than this one. Because the concubine is going to get a little bit overexcited and start teleporting all over the place. So, you'll see more what I mean when we get to it. I can't even remember what it's called. I just kind of remember, oh, it's the 2 towers, and you have to fight the concubine in them, and that's about all I remember about them. Probably should have chosen my words a little more carefully, but you catch my drift. Also, the light seed that we are running to right now is a bit of a weird one. Now, I think what you're technically meant to do is to use the blue power plate to hand Mars over to the power plate above that wall and then grip fall down. However, there's a slight bug that happens. And essentially, it means that when you hit the, well, if you don't do anything with the power plate, then you just fall to your death. It's a bit weird. Something kind of similar happens in the epilogue, where there's a bit of a glitch involved with the Handful Mars power plate, where you grip fall when you don't mean to, but yeah, it happens. That's the Royal Spire, this one. I do like that all of the areas have got names, I just can't remember most of them. Because really, you don't remember these areas for the names, for the most part. You remember them for what is in them. It's like, I can remember the fact that the construction yard is the one with the 4 wooden platforms that you need to move, and the Martyr's Tower is that one I hate. But a lot of the titles I just can never remember, because they're just kind of just there. But in the next time, we will move on with the Royal Palace.